some chess here. Here's where we are, Mizpah Springs. And we've got Eisenhower, Pierce, Eisenhower, Franklin, Monroe, and all the way up to Washington. And you've got Jefferson and Adams. High of 53 today. But mostly clear, damp rock. Well, Mizpah Spring hut. That was fun. And it was fun to see gazelle. And now we figure out which direction we're going. Toward Mount Pierce and Crawford Path. Looks like it's that way. We start the climb right off the bat here. Looking back toward Jackson right there. Beautiful. And the hut is right there. Jackson there. Look at this beautiful scenery here. It's a beautiful day for some hiking. Absolutely beautiful. It's getting warm out here. I think I might take this layer off and go to short sleeves in a minute. But good morning. It is Stick the Eagle here, and welcome to day 118 here in the Appalachian Trail. We are currently climbing Mount Pierce. If you are new, welcome here. Glad you are here. Hope you enjoy following along with us for day 118 on the Appalachian Trail. Day 2 back. And if you have been here before, welcome back. You recognize Gazelle. We recognized, we had a good time talking to her the past, evening and a little bit this morning. Didn't record all of that because there's a lot of people around. I don't want to record, and also want to have real conversation. Don't just want to have the pressure of the camera in your face all the time. So that's how you have best conversation sometimes, and just enjoy the moment. But we're here and we are climbing Mount Pierce. We're doing Washington today. So welcome to the trail, and let's keep hiking northbound. Some big steps here. See that little grouse there? I think it's a grouse. Hello, hello. Just started feeling that breeze. Wanted to take off a layer a second ago, but you know, you're gonna get that breeze eventually. There is Mount Washington. So at Mizpah last night, they only were half full. They had half the rooms empty. They have a 60 bed capacity, and they only had 22 beds full. So they were full last night, but last night was just a little bit of an anomaly, I guess. Lake of the Clouds was full though. Mizpah is the second biggest hut in the AMC system, second to Lake of the Clouds. And it's not too far to Lake of the Clouds. It's just over Pierce and Eisenhower. And then you got Washington. And we'll be up at Pierce fairly soon. It's a beautiful day. So glad I can see Washington. Not a cloud in the sky right now. So it should be a great day for Summit Day. Here we are. Welcome to the Alpine Zone. No landing of drones. So that's good. We'll be in the Alpine Zone for the next complete day, I believe. I could be wrong, we could dip down, but I think most of the day, we're just going up, up, up until we get to Washington. This is a gradual up though. Mount Pierce started with a lot of steep up, which was fine, got my blood pumping, but he does slow you down, so now this is a pretty good trail right now. Gazelle said that it was pretty cruisy up until Washington, so we'll see. We'll see what cruisy means for Gazelle, right? It's just like I never left talking about Gazelle. I miss her. I do say, don't be tempted to put on the dry socks in the morning, even though your socks are still wet from the day before. I just stepped in a puddle. Unintending to, of course, but there's still plenty of mud and puddles around. So my socks would be wet again. Then I'll have 2 pairs of wet socks. So I'd rather put on wet socks in the morning or have 2 pairs of wet socks and not have either of my pairs dry. Exactly. There was a thru-hiker that I was talking to last night, looking at the stars. Oh my, I didn't even mention that. It was beautiful going outside of Mizpah last night and looking at the stars. Beautiful stars, starry sky. Might have had it tonight. So it's worth it when you're up in these mountains, look at the stars. But anyway, I was talking with one outside there, and they were like, we wanted just to be done with this trail. They started in like April, so they're like, they're getting tired and we're ready to be done. The nice thing about me restarting this at this point is that I'm not ready to be done. I just started again and I can enjoy the rest of New Hampshire and of course, Maine. Well, I've emerged on the rock pile that is Pierce. There's a surveyor marker right there. And there is our awesome view of Eisenhower first, and then Monroe, I guess, is somewhere over there, but Washington is the obvious one. We are getting so close. Mount Pierce, 4,300 feet of elevation, and number 12 on the summit list of New Hampshire's 48 4,000 footers. As soon as we got over that hump that is Mount Pierce, the wind started. Not too much wind, but a little bit. So I'm comfortable in my red sleeves now. Unlike when I was climbing up that for the first little bit. You could be changing your clothes so often, or you can just let it go for a little bit unless you really need it. That is beautiful. This is a beautiful expanse there. And just walking down Mount Pierce over to Eisenhower right in front of us there. And Washington behind that. This is just beautiful. And we have found the Crawford Path. The historic path that leads up Mount Washington from Crawford Notch. It's named after Mr. Crawford, who made the Crawford Path from the Notch to Mount Washington back in the early 1800s. It is the oldest White Mountain path. So, a little bit of history. More steam blowing up from the ground, I think from the walkway. Can you guys see that? I can see it, but I'm not sure how it picks up in the actual camera. But it's really cool. Incidentally, if I continued from the date that I reached Crawford Notch on June 17th and I could have probably gotten to Mizpah because I got to Crawford Notch at like 1 o'clock. So could have gotten to Mizpah June 17th, and then my Washington day would be June 18th. However, it was about a week of cloudiness and some rain here and there after that. So my point is that I don't think we would have had these views if I hadn't had this break. The timing seems to be perfect. And I'm well rested for this and feel much better. So all of the above, all good things working for us. I just slipped on a wet rock and fell and really twisted my ankle. It's hurting right now. I'm hoping that it's just minor. There is the beautiful Mount Washington Hotel, I think it's called, over there. Very distinct. Whew. I'm sweating and shaking a lot because I'm scared. I really started sweating after I fell because I'm scared that I actually really twisted my ankle. It hasn't gone away yet. I'm just trying to make slow and careful progress. I'm like, how could I be so careless? Hopefully after just stepping, it'll be okay. My ankles are strong. Tell myself that. Placebo effect. Look at all this mud. Stay in good spirits here. You can see our path down and over to Eisenhower. Now Eisenhower is looming nice and tall. So at the moment I'm just walking on it. I'm not sure if it's sprained yet or not, but I'm just walking on it to see how it feels. And it's definitely hurt longer than any other time I almost twisted it. So I'm a little concerned about that, but we'll just keep walking, northbound. There we are looking back at Pierce, the way we came. Hi Eisenhower, you don't look that big anymore. I've reached the Mount Eisenhower loop. Mount Eisenhower is right there, and the Crawford Path AT goes this way. I think I've decided to bypass Eisenhower and just do the AT, because if I did the loop and circled back in a half mile, I'd be missing that half mile of the AT. Plus extra elevation when I'm concerned about my ankle right now is probably not a good thing. I can always come back and bag Eisenhower later. I was doing a bunch of side quests before, doing Galehead that are close, and Eisenhower is close and very tempting, but I think I need to just keep on going without doing a bunch of elevation right now, since I might have twisted my ankle. So it'd be better for me, and I'll get to Lake of the Clouds and then Monroe Hut sooner if I don't add all the extra miles and elevation in. Yeah, looking back toward Pierce, there's a little cloud coming in. But looking ahead to Washington, beautiful. This, my friends, is the Presidential Traverse. Here's Washington. There's a cloud coming right up and over Eisenhower right now. But I think it'll come and go fairly quickly. Can't see Eisenhower anymore. I'm trying to just not move my ankle, just step straight as best I can, because I know that immobilization is best for sprained ankles. I have that Boy Scout knowledge. So if it is in fact sprained, which I'm afraid it is, because it's still hurting, and if I, like those times where I said I almost sprained my ankle, it went away after about a half mile or so. So gotta be careful here. I have to step down a ledge here, so I have to continue being careful and try not to move it too much. Could have made the wrong call about not going up and over Eisenhower. I just spoke to a guy who was passing and said that this is a very treacherous trail, and that he did Eisenhower Loop yesterday and said that the Eisenhower trail, even though you have to go up and over, is much, much easier than this. And I could have bagged another summit too. I just thought I was making the right choice for my ankle today. Here's either side of the Mount Eisenhower Loop Trail. Eisenhower Summit Loop, Edmonds Path, and we're on the Crawford Path. Gorgeous view of Eisenhower right there, and then gorgeous view out here of other smaller peaks. What a day, what a day. Kind of cool, you can see the whole path I've come. And Eisenhower looks much shorter now. That's the highest peak. We're getting there. Wow. I really just want to enjoy this view while I walk. But while I show you, I can't enjoy it myself because I've got to be looking down at my feet at all times. If I want to sit back and enjoy the view, I've got to just stop for a minute. And I see the railroad. The Cog Railway is right there. There's actually a blue and red train coming down that railroad track right now. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if you're on a big screen, you can see it. There's the train. It's right past those white buildings right now. Right underneath it, it's going downhill. That's pretty. Washington is getting closer and closer. This is a short path up to the top of Mount Franklin. It doesn't count as a 4,000 footer because of lack of prominence. So we'll leave Mount Franklin be, but it's cool. I'm just gonna keep following the AT. There's already a push to try to get to Madison Hut. It's 11 o'clock now. So I just need to keep making forward progress. I think it's a good choice not to make so many side quests right now, just to follow the AT. Because I can always come back and finish the 4,000 footers later when I'm not focusing on the AT. Would have to do that anyway if I wanted to summit all the 4,000 footers. Look back that way. The farthest ridge is Franconia Ridge. And then we have South Twin in front and Zealand right there. That far tip. But the far ridge in the background there is Franconia Ridge. I don't think I can see Liberty, but Little Haystack, Lincoln, and Lafayette. Here's a better look at Franklin right there. And down the hill to the Dry River Wilderness. That's a wilderness down there. Mount Monroe Loop. Crawford Path AT. I was also thinking of doing the Mount Monroe. That's up there, but that's the fake summit. It's not that much farther. But I am concerned about having enough time to get all the way over to Madison. I am going slower now because of my ankle today, so I don't want to do unnecessary hard climbs. I don't want to push it. I'm doing okay right now with just slow and steady up. That's where we're headed. Just had some of these. Hit the spot right now. This is the Presidential Traverse. Yeah, that's pretty. But so is that. Absolutely stunning. There's an airplane up there. Pretty low. Actually, the mountain's pretty high. I'm on the side of Monroe right now, and there is Franklin, and Pierce is behind that. They look so small now compared to when I was next to them. And Eisenhower is the hump right behind Franklin. And there is Washington. Doesn't look too much farther now. This is the Appalachian Trail. Oh wow, I see a hut, and I believe it to be the Lake of the Clouds hut. It is now 12 o'clock, and we are reaching Lake of the Clouds. Washington, beautiful in the backdrop. Last time I was at Lake of Clouds was way back in like 2011 when I summited, when I was working on the high points of each date. We're with Rabbit. And that is why I wanted to do Washington today. Clear versus clouds. This is what's called the dungeon. It's an emergency use only. There's increasing clouds towards the summit right now. There is the lake. Here's the famous sign. It's another lake. There's two lakes in the clouds. Tuckerman crossover, Tuckerman Junction. It's a beautiful Lake of the Clouds hut down there. The Crawford path here is quite rocky. These rock piles guide hikers to the correct path. So update on my ankle here. Lake of the Clouds gave me this knee brace to put on my ankle, which might help give it some compression. But when I put it on, it was very painful putting it on. When I'm walking and keeping it straight and level, it's not too painful. It's just painful when I touch it. So I believe I've confirmed that it is, in fact, a sprained ankle. I'm still trying to get to Madison, which is 6+ miles away, and it's 1:30. So I don't know how the rest of this day is going to go, but we'll find out. We've reached the West Side Trail, which goes on the west side of the mountain over there. Still, of course, very exposed. We keep on going higher, higher, climbing Washington. Look at that. Looking back to the Lakes of the Clouds hut. Looks so tiny from here. You can see the path that I just took. I see a tower up there. Doesn't look far. Hello up there, Mount Washington. It's a very calm and clear day today as we near the summit. There's a white blaze. Temperature is 63 degrees up here. Very pleasant and hardly any wind right now. This is the Crawford Path. The AT. Mount Washington summit is 0.2. Cool. Doesn't look very far. And there, Madison Spring Hut, 5.8. So over this way, we have Mount Clay, Mount Jefferson, and Mount Adams. Those are steep climbs, I'm told. At the moment, I'm moving about a mile per hour. It's 1.4 from Lake of the Clouds, and I left there about an hour and 15 minutes ago. So I am definitely concerned about 5.8 before Madison Spring, given that it is now 2:15. If that's a mile per hour, I don't get there till 8:15, by which point it is going to be dark, and the terrain might be even more treacherous. Love the blazes, the clear white blazes on the way up here.
Hey, are you a doctor? Yeah, okay. You want something?
All right, 3, 2, 1.
This is the official top because it's the highest point in the rock pile. That is Clay, which I can't really see, and then Jefferson, and then Adams, and then Monroe. And the hut is over there between Adams and Monroe. I think I can actually see it. I wish I could get there. A little hazy, but look at all those views. Gorgeous. Beautiful views from the top here. The top one there is Franconia Ridge. The top ridge there, Lafayette, Lincoln, and then Liberty. And then in front of that is South Twin and Zeeland. And then in front of that is Wiley, and then Webster, Jackson, Pierce, all the way to here. There goes the Cog Railway. Leaving Mount Washington. For a moment I wasn't going to leave the summit of Mount Washington because Madison Hut's like 6 miles away and this terrain is really rocky and my ankle is definitely sprained. However, their cog is full and their hiker shuttle was full and it's super expensive, and I think I can walk as long as I keep moving. Here is the Cog Railway. It's cool seeing exactly where I'm headed. Down here, across that ridge, near Mount Clay, and then by Jefferson, but not over Jefferson, and then by Adams, and the hut is in between those two peaks. So yay. Do you want to take advantage of the fair weather right now? Well, this fair weather, tomorrow's not supposed to be great, so I'd rather hike on the ridges when there's not storms nearby, because this is all open land here. So I did think about taking a way down. There's like $70 for the shuttle, and they weren't even sure there was going to be one available. So it's like wait around and not know that I can get off the mountain, or just start and use the daylight that I have. That beautiful lake down there. It's just a gorgeous day for this, and it's not too windy today either. Absolutely gorgeous. So there's Clay and Jefferson, Adams, and Madison. Gulfside Trail. All right, we've come a mile. Madison is 5 miles across those mountain peaks. Well, not the peaks. I don't have to go across the peaks, thankfully. Just keep walking. We're going that way. This is the Mount Clay Loop over Summit sign. Across the Jewel Trail. There's Washington up there. So this trail is the one that goes over the summit. This one is the one that goes around Mount Clay. So we're doing that. I talked to Gazelle last night about whether Mount Clay was worth it before I knew that it'd be behind my anticipated pace like this. And she said Mount Clay was not worth it, it doesn't even count, and it's a very hard trail. So we can go around. This trail around the side of Mount Clay is not that bad. It's just very rocky, but it's pretty flat. Meanwhile, there's our view of the Cog Railway station down there. Jefferson and Adams look ominous here. At least the rocks are dry, and it's a beautiful day. I'd much rather hike this section with these beautiful views and remember this for all time. Even if I'm worrying about where I'm going to sleep tonight, it's much better than walking this in a whole bunch of wind and rain and being scared of thunder and being exposed constantly, right? Here's the other side of the Mount Clay Loop, still 3.7 to Madison. It's nearing 6 o'clock. So beautiful. There's Jefferson ahead. There we are, looking back at Mount Clay and Mount Washington, still out in the open there. And we are currently on the side of Jefferson, continuing to work our way. There are two others up here, which is encouraging me on, because if we're caught in the dark, there is safety in numbers. 3.2 to Madison. So we're walking by Jefferson right now. We can summit later. It's Adams in front of us, and the hut with Madison is on the other side of Adams. It's currently 6:30, so we have an hour left of daylight and 3 miles. Ooh, starting to get some colors. There's Washington, different angle. Madison Hut's on the other side of that mountain, Mount Adams. There's the saddle between them. Madison Hut, 2.4 miles. Getting a bit windy. It's about 7:15 now. Gulfside Trail, Madison Hut, 2.2. We're in the saddle of Jefferson and Adams, Edmonds Coal Cutoff. It's nighttime. I'm really looking for a flat spot to sleep now. I know I'm in the alpine zone, but I am scared of finding these cans in the pitch dark. I really don't think I'll be able to. It's still 2 miles to the Madison Hut. I'm going less than a mile per hour, so I'd be walking those steep hills in the dark. I don't see anything over here.